Right, so after seeing the notch on the MacBook Pros, a lot of you guys have been asking me whether we'll see the notch on the next bigger iMac. And well, I've been a little unsure, but today we do have some evidence that could suggest the notch is indeed happening on the M1 Max iMac. And so let's delve into it, but first, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors. And with that being said, let's just tuck in. Right, so this report comes from Patently Apple. These guys filter through the numerous patents Apple files for future tech. And well, they found one that covers the notch coming to the MacBook Pro and the iMac. Now, yes, I know a ton of patents don't see the light of day, but do remember we've seen the notch on the MacBook Pros, and so it's a safe assumption Apple's using this patent for that wonderful notch on the MacBook Pros. And so since the patent also mentions the iMac, I think the iMac is going to follow suit. Now, the image of the iMac in the patent gives us a top bezel, a chin, and also the notch. Now imagine all that with white bezels, it would be pretty horrific. And to be honest, I don't see Apple giving us a top bezel. The whole point of the notch on the MacBook Pros is because the bezels on the top and the sides are super thin, and so I do think Apple's going to bring that over to the bigger iMac and give us razor thin bezels on the top and sides. Now, as for details within the actual patent, it's the usual. They say the notch is going to be housing operational components, which of course are the camera, the True Tone sensors, and the mic array. But what's interesting is that the patent does directly mention the possibility of Face ID components being housed within this notch. And I do think this is one of the reasons why Apple gave us a notch on the MacBook Pros, because I'm pretty sure Apple plans to give us Face ID in the near future, but of course, they can't go from no notch to a notch a few years later. So I do think Apple's laying the groundworks for Face ID coming to the Mac, and adding the notch means they already have the space within the hardware to easily give us those Face ID components. And also do remember that Mark Gurman said the iMac should be the first Mac with Face ID, so I do think Apple could give us a notch on the M1X iMac to prepare for the addition of Face ID in the near future. I mean, the patent does say the components within the notch should unlock the device, encrypt data, supplementing passwords, differentiating different users, and also generating emojis, which of course is directly referring to animojis. And so yes, I do think there is a very strong chance we should see Face ID on the Mac very soon. Another interesting use case for these components is mapping the face of the user to their name and their date of birth. Now this I could see somewhat being useful in schools. Obviously they buy iMacs in bulk, and so of course many students are going to be logging into these Macs every single day, and so of course Apple could use the Face ID tech to basically enable the student to sit in front of the iMac, and the iMac automatically recognizes the user and lets them in. That, I admit, would be pretty nifty, and I can see Apple giving us that with a future version of the iMac. So yes, we can be sure we're seeing the notch with this new iMac, but the next question is, are we going to see the notch and white bezels? Now, of course, Apple can do what they like. They've been stirring a ton of controversy with their Mac designs as of late, and so I would not be surprised if we do see white bezels with a notch. But I think for the bigger iMac, it makes a ton of sense to give us black bezels because this is going to be a prosumer machine, and white bezels are synonymous with the consumer level Macs. And of course, given we're getting mini LED panels, the notch would blend into the background if it was black. And so yes, I do think the right move is to give us black bezels with the notch. I would be fine with that. But white bezels, that's a different story, and that could make the notch very distracting with this iMac. Anyways, that's about it, guys. Tell me in the comments below, do you think we are going to see a notch on this new iMac? Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors. Check out the video in the card above on details regarding the M1 Max Mac Mini, and on that note, I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya, peeps.